the fiction of Harlan Ellison in a book called Mind Fields, a very lovely book available in both soft and hardcover editions. Mr. Ellison, it's always a pleasure.
Mr. Snyder, I am quietly humble and proud to be here.
Oh, stop.
Well, God, you were coming at me with all of that we can learn from this. I mean, my God. I mean, I've been to Italy. I eat penne, but
well, didn't you like it there? I mean,
I loved it. I thought Italy was wonderful, as opposed to France.
True.
Which, when I came back, I said we should nuke them till they glow. No, the Italians are very nice.
They are. They're nice people. And the thing that amazed me was that they all spoke Italian and that all the signs on the road were in Italian.
It amazed you that Italians spoke Italian?
Well, I mean, if you come to America, not everybody speaks English.
Well, that's true. That's true. But we are a melting pot here.
Yes, I understand that, but we could learn from some countries in Europe. Anyway, the project Minefields, how did you and Mr. Yerka get together? Your prose, his art.
Well, what happened was I had done an introduction for a book of H.R. Giger's art. H.R. Giger, the man who designed the Alien.
Oh, surely.
And the publisher is a man named Jim Cowan, and his company is called Morpheus International. And he publishes coffee table books of fantastic artists, surrealists, so on. And he had done one of my books, and he'd done very well with it. So he called me one day and he said, "Look," he said, I was at an art exhibition, or maybe it was the art show here in town, and he said, "I saw this fabulous Polish painter, and I'm going to do a book of his stuff, and I'd like you to write the introduction." I said, "Oh, God, Jim, please, I've done enough introductions."
Right, and by the way, are you an art aficionado? Are you a fan of it?
Yes.
Okay, so it would be in keeping with your own love to do this kind of an introduction.
Well, I've done a lot of introductions for different art books and comics, and I very much like the visual, because I'm frustrated because I cannot draw at all. Right. And he said, "I really want you to do this." And I said, "Please, I've done enough introduction. Running Water, introduced by Ellison. Here's a roll of toilet paper, introduction by Ellison. Enough already. We've had this." So he said, "Well, at least look at this guy's stuff." And I said, "All right." So he came over with a folio of Jacek's art, and I looked, and the first one I saw was this, and my mouth dropped open. I said, "This is astonishing stuff." Well, the more he showed me, in about 20 minutes, I said, "No, I will not do an introduction." I said, "But I will." He wanted to do 30 paintings. I said, "I'll write 30 short stories around 30 paintings."
Wow.
And he thought I was kidding, and I said, "No, I would do it." Now, originally what I thought I would do was I would write a 4 or 5 line kind of aphorism for each one. Yeah. Didn't happen that way. When I got to the first story that I did was this one called Twilight in the Cupboard.
No, I'll hold it up. I got it right here.
Okay. Twilight in the Cupboard. When I got to that, and it shows a cupboard, and it's got all of these things on the top, but there's a little church there, and there's hands coming out of the drawer. And I said, how interesting. So now I start writing the story. Well, the story turns out to be about 2,000 words. Then the problem was I had to explain it. When I explained it, the author's note that I wrote ran 7,000 words.
And you know what we say, if you have to explain them.
Oh, yeah. Well,
I know.
What it was about the Holocaust, and about assimilation, and about the people who always thought they could escape by pretending they weren't Jewish, and how they wind up living, all of the souls of the dead Jews are living in this cupboard. And I had to explain all that. And I get into it, and I start talking about skinheads, and what pustulant rodents they are, and how, and I go on and on and on, and it's this long thing. So I figured, okay, now I can't do 3 or 4 lines for the other stories because they'll all be unbalanced. So each story winds up being longer than the others, and I wind up doing this very long book, and I did 33 stories around 34 paintings. And I would, if you would show The Silence, which is on page 40.
I will indeed.
It's very short, and I'll read it to them so they can see the kind of thing that I did. And it holds, in fact, with your religious tone of the evening.
Now, wait a second. Let me just they're the page numbers.
Down on the bottom, page 40.
I know.
Please turn in your... Oh.
Okay, The Silence. See this one right here on the left-hand side.
Now, the camera comes in on that one.
There it is.
Okay. You got a good shot of that?
As good as we're going to get.
Okay. This is the cathedral in which your cowardice has been enshrined. The silence at the pulpit is the silence we heard when you did not answer cries for help. In the eaves of this holy place are the festooned remnants of the friends you did not come to assist. In the darkened rooms up rotting staircases are the tattered faces of lovers you betrayed. Here your mother, there your father, both gone now and neither with any degree of calm or joy. Here is the sanctuary of your lost chances. There is no pastor, no choir, no stewards, no supplicants. It is a congregation of one. You will worship here all the remaining days of your life, and at night your spirit will kneel on broken glass in the pews.
Now, that's heavy, kid. You know that. And I know exactly what you're saying.
Yeah.
But why did you choose to see the silence in this church in negative rather than positive terms?
I have no idea. Some of these stories are very positive.
I know they are.
And very happy. Others, there is a quality about these. For instance, it's a ruined roof. The roof is ruined.
Right.
There is hay coming out of one of the apertures.
The church is in a state of dishabille without question. But I'm just curious because you could have just as easily said something positive about the people who did not turn their backs on their friends and their mothers.
Well, I have in other stories. In this one, I chose to talk about people who are not responsible, people who are cowards because they prefer to say it's not my problem.
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather look elsewhere. I'd rather do something else. And the casual betrayals of someone at work who needs you to come forward and say, she didn't do it. It was this other guy.
Right.
And they don't, because you don't want to put your own ass on the line. Mm-hmm. So I have no idea why it was each of these stories turned out the way they did.
You know, I was curious. You know how when you read an article that somebody has written about another person and how sometimes they just nail them?
Yeah.
And sometimes a writer won't quite get it. Like the piece you just read, The Silence, you nailed it. You know what I'm saying? In those 8 lines, you nailed something very important in terms of responsibility and awareness. Are you conscious of that ability, or does that just come out of your typewriter or your pen?
It's long and hard learned.
Yeah.
I did a lot of newspaper work. I've done a lot of nonfiction.
I know you have.
And I think I learned it from Steve McQueen. Of all people, I learned it from Steve McQueen. I did an interview with Steve. We became friends.
Let me have you hold it, kid. I got a commercial waiting. We'll continue with Harlan Ellison, who is, what can we say, co-author?
I guess.
Co-star of Minefields, The Art of Jacek Jurka, and The Fiction of Harlan Ellison. Back with more and your phone calls. We're with Harlan Ellison. The book is called Minefields, and you were talking about an interview that you had done with Steve McQueen.
Yeah, this is years
and that writing is a craft hard to learn.
Anybody can learn writing. I mean, really, writing is not that hard. I mean, if you look at the crap that Judith Krantz writes, you know that anything can write. What? I'm supposed to sit here and lie and say Judith Krantz is a great writer?
Well, I mean, but why would you have to just bring up Judith Krantz?
All right, I got others. No. How many do you want? No. How many do you want? I'll give you a list. No, I mean, you look at the stuff that women write. You know that Paramecium could write. Things that live in a petri dish could write. No, she's not a woman. Is not a writer. She's a creative typist. But a hell of a dresser. The woman can dress like crazy. Look, I take writing very seriously.
I know you do.
And I think people who patchki around with it ought to have their fingers broken, slam them in a piano.
Right. So Judith's fingers have figuratively now been smashed.
Listen, sometime you get me here, I'll tell you why I'm never invited to Jeremy Tarcher and Sherry Lewis's house anymore. We used to be great friends. Yeah. Well, Judith Krantz is Jeremy Tarcher's sister. Oh. And I was there the night that she made some obscenely enormous amount of money for a paperback sale on one of her unspeakable books. And I unfortunately made a remark about it.
I'm sure you did.
That was the end of the dinner. I mean, the penny went one way and she went the other. And
how many dinners in your lifetime have you ended with remark?
A number. I am seldom invited back. Ronnie McDowell is the only person who's ever invited us back to dinner. Uh-huh. He's a nice man.
He's a very nice man.
He's got a very high BS throreshold, apparently. But no, we eat at home a lot. Listen, I've been thrown out of 7-Elevens for anyhow, where were we? Oh, we were...
Steve McQueen.
Steve McQueen. He was a remarkable guy, and I was assigned to do a piece on him. He had just shot Bullet.
Oh, sure.
The film Bullet.
Yeah.
And I was assigned to do a piece on him by one of the Hearst magazines, and we got to know each other. And he was very, very cautious guy to know, because he used to say, everybody tries to cap me. Everybody tries to, sum me up in a few words. Yeah. And I said I wouldn't do that. And he came to like me. He called me Huckleberry. I don't know why, but he liked to call me up. And we got pretty tight. And we wound up at one point. He had made an arrangement. It was the only time he went on television after he had done Wanted Dead or Alive. Mm-hmm. The only time he went back to TV was he did the Ed Sullivan Show. And Sullivan came out into the high desert. Steve had said he wanted to promote, Warner Bros. Wanted him to promote Bullet. He wanted to promote Solar, which was his production company that made dune buggies. Mm-hmm. And they said, okay, we'll combine them. We'll shoot it out in the high desert in the dune buggies.
Right.
And like that.
And then you'll plug Bullet at the same time.
Exactly. So we got out there, and it was bad. It was like 125 degrees, 130 degrees. Ed Sullivan had a colostomy bag, and he had to keep changing his shirt. They had about 40 of these blue shirts that he wore, and they had to keep changing them every 15 minutes. And it was a real bad day. And at one point during the shooting, all of a sudden, McQueen stops and he looks around and he says, "What's that whirring sound?" And everybody goes, "What whirring sound?" What whirring sound? Nobody hears it all of it. I mean, we've heard it all afternoon. He heard it for the first time. And he walks over to one of the cameras. Warner Brothers had sent him crappy equipment.
Oh, the camera?
The camera was making the noise. And he was such a perfectionist, he would not allow it to be shot. There we are standing on 120, 130 degree heat. Everybody's schwitzing and dying. Yeah. And he said, "We got to get different cameras. Send back to LA, get different cameras." The lesson I learned from that was that at some moment in an interview or at some moment in writing a nonfiction piece, the truth will be revealed to you.
Exactly.
Through a peephole. You've done it in interviews. I've watched you all the time, man. Yeah. You see through, and you suddenly see right to the heart of that person. You know exactly who they are. And in that instant, when he could have flayed some poor camera guy, he could have insulted the people who schlepped the equipment. He didn't. He took charge, man. He became the man.
The leader.
Absolutely. And he said, do this, and we will all go back to town. We'll go to my house. We'll sit in the cool till we come back. I want you to go to the airport, get a chopper, go get the cameras, come back. He had it all like, it was amazing.
Laid out. He laid it out.
Absolutely. And I said, this is the core of what this man is really like. Because a petty guy would have stomped his little foot like Barbra Streisand. Sorry, another name out of the past. She owes me $18. I'm entitled. Woman stole $18 from me many years ago.
What do you mean she stole $18?
We both sang in the same club before she ever got her first gig, and I can get a free rehearsal. We both sang for a living, and we passed the hat. When she would sing, I passed it. When I sang, she passed the hat. One night, she copped the hat. It was $18. Am I allowed to say the bitch? No, I'm not allowed to say it.
Don't come on.
Well, I was off camera. They didn't see it.
Judith Krantz and Barbra Streisand. I'll tell you, when he slams the biggest there are. Now, you have titled only 2 of these paintings, and one of them is the name that you have on your home in Los Angeles called Ellison Wonderland.
Yes.
Now, why was this called Ellison Wonderland?
Because I was hoping that they would give me that painting. I love that painting.
They being?
Well, Mr. Yurka has an agent, a lady who I understand is Polish, but who lives in Paris and pretends she's not Polish. And she gave the publisher a very hard time, saying, "Who is this Ellison fellow?
Yeah, right.
Why does we have his work? Jacek's work is great. Why we have to have these weird little stories?" So
with the notes,
to which I replied what my mother used to say to me, like a wolf with a goldfish, lady. And so I titled that one Ellison Wonderland, and then this one here, which is called Susan, because I wrote it about my wife.
About your wife, but not like the Ellison Wonderland. Where is the painting?
How the hell I know? I don't have it. You know what these things sell for?
No. Let me ask you a question.
Cowan's in the other room. Ask him. They're about 50 grand a piece.
You're kidding.
I haven't got that kind of money.
Does it look anything like this?
No.
Does it look anything?
Yeah, it looks like, that's the paint. Where did you get that?
Well, but it looks something like that, right? Yeah. Go touch it. It's real. You can hold it. It's yours.
What are you saying?
I'm saying it's yours.
I can't afford this. Did
I ask for money? Gotcha.
Did you do this?
Well, Santa never tells how. We will continue with Harlan Ellison. Man, I've never seen this guy absolutely thunderstruck. In 20 years of broadcasting, I got him. Nailed him. We'll be right back after these messages.
You're kidding.
I wouldn't kid you, pal.
This is mine?
It's yours.
Well, you done did me this time.
Oh, I know.
Jim Cowan is in the next room.
Your agent?
He's the publisher of this book. He is the sweetest man in the world. He's a wonderful publisher, honest as the day is long. He's a pleasure to work with. I have worked with some of the greatest mumsers in the universe as publishers, and I am quick to call them that. But boy, he is a prince. And if he paid for this, what I think he paid for this, it is more than I've ever gotten for a book in my life. I'm just... Can I get one of those does-its? I got to, every time I watch
You mean with a stick on the wall?
Yeah, with a stick on the wall. Well, look, I'm talking right to the guy. Well, the manufacturers of the Does It, the commercial Does It, would you send me one? Send it to Tom. I'm dying to try it. If it's good, I'll give Tom a statement. I got to try it. It looks great.
You're the guy just got the painting of his dreams.
I can't talk about it. I can't talk.
Hangs on the wall.
I can't talk about it, man. This is just.
But anyway, your publisher made this happen for you.
Yeah.
And he sent me a note, which you also read, that says if you have a heart attack or a seizure or
he
whatever.
should send it to him because he's got a place over the sofa for it. Yes, I think what's really tragic, I think, is that we both told him he couldn't come to dinner.
That's true.
And he's a decent man. He does eat mashed potatoes with his hands, but apart from that, a nice fella.
And I hear he loves Judith Krantz. Here is Steve on the phone in Minneapolis. Hi, Steve. It's Tom. How you be?
Oh, pretty good.
Good.
Congratulations on the painting there, Harlan.
Thank you. Thank you.
I belong to a computer service called Genie.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, and
Get a life.
I know that you don't like it too much.
No. It's not that I don't like computer services. What I don't like are the harebrained idiots who get on these computer bulletin boards and spend all night long bad-mouthing people with impunity, spreading gossip and doing ugliness. They are, you see, what bothers me about the information superhighway is that it is going to be traversed by the same imbeciles who are walking around without an information superhighway. Right. See, in the old days, guys like this would have a fanzine, and they were semi-literate, and they couldn't spell. Now they got a spell checker. Ooh, a spell checker means they can be complete boneheads, and they get on these lines, and they're very defensive about it.
Oh, sure.
They're like members of a devil cult who resent it when you say you shouldn't bite the heads off chickens. See? And that's what these people are. And every day I got friends who call me and they say, you should see what was said on Genie last night, what was said on Prodigy last night, blah, blah, blah. And I said, I don't want to know. I don't want to know. These people are spring-loaded vomit. That's all they are. I'm a nice fella. I don't want to know. Go away. Get a life. Stop sitting there and eating sweets.
Steve, has he answered your question?
No.
No.
Well, what part of that didn't you understand, Steve?
Was it the spring-loaded vomit, Steve?
I understand why you're saying that, and for the most part, you're right. The thing that I really liked about Genie, though, is that at least I was able to get some up-to-date information on what, you're up to, and to know when to run down to the bookstore looking for books. And
there are nice things on the computer nets. I do not deny it. There's always wonderful stuff. It's like a knife. A knife can carve a piece of sculpture. A knife can carve a piccolo for a child. A knife can also be used to behead a woman in the street.
Yeah.
It depends whether you've got an imbecile wielding the implement. I'm not a Luddite. I got a fax. I've got an Electrodex for my address. The fact that I use a manual typewriter and not a personal computer makes them crazy.
Oh, I know.
Makes them insane. Like they have to convert me.
I said to some young people one day, I said, they have a wonderful machine now where you don't have to type anything on a screen and then rearrange it. You can put a piece of paper in this machine and it prints what you're writing right on the piece of paper.
They said, what is it?
I said, a typewriter. It's amazing. Steve, I'm glad you called. Thanks.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
David in Rochester, New York. Hello.
Hey, how you doing, Tom?
I'm fine, David. How are you?
Mr. Ellison, I am a huge fan of yours.
Does that mean, when you say you're a huge fan, do you mean you weigh over 300 pounds?
I weigh about 250.
Aha. Okay. What can I do for you?
Well, I'm a very big fan of yours, like I said, and I'm wondering, are we going to see anything on the big Howard Stern?
Oh, sorry, a Howard Stern call.
Oh, there's always this. I swear to God, Howard Stern must hire these people for a pittance to call people and ask about Howard Stern. Actually, Howard Stern is a transvestite. I'm not sure you know this. Howard Stern is a 13-year-old girl but not an attractive 13-year-old girl.
I don't need this, Harlan. Do it on your own show.
Okay. They won't let me do it on my own show.
I know. Me neither. Lance in Louisiana. Hello.
Hey, Tom. How's it going?
Pretty good, Lance. Pretty good. How's everything? Whereabouts in Louisiana do we find you tonight?
I'm right outside New Orleans.
Oh, very good. Here's Harlan. He's right here. Say hello.
You in Metairie?
No, I'm in Gretna.
I know Gretna.
One of my favorite books that you wrote was called Spider's Kiss.
Spider Kiss, yeah.
And I was wondering why that hasn't been made into a movie. I think it would make a great movie. And did you ever write a sequel to that?
No, I never wrote a Spider Kiss is my rock novel. And Greil Marcus, who is about the best rock critic in the world, said it's the best rock novel ever written.
I was thinking that.
I love that book. And it was originally optioned by Elvis Presley's manager.
For heaven's sake.
And never made.
Who, Parker?
Parker took it, and it was never made. Then it was optioned by, I forgot. It's been optioned 2 or 3 times. It's never been made, and I think it's probably out of date as a movie now.
Have you ever written a sequel to any of your books?
No. And I'll tell you why. I hate sequels. I think sequels are chewing your cud twice.
Yeah.
I hate trilogies. I hate books that go on and on and on. Now, when Conan Doyle got tired of doing Sherlock Holmes, he killed him. He threw him off the Reichenbach Falls. He said, Take it easy.
You're dead.
And the people geschried, and they made such a noise that he came back and he wrote more. And the Sherlock Holmes stories that followed are not as good. Dumas, after he did Three Musketeers, he did 10 years later and 20 years after. Neither one is good. I've read books by people where they go back and they rethink. You say what you gotta say, and you get off stage and you write something else. Mm-hmm. I've never written a sequel. Now, A Boy and His Dog, which they made a movie of, was only part of a large novel.
Right.
So there's 3 or 4 of those stories published, and there's a larger section coming if I ever get around to finishing it. Mm-hmm. But no, I've never written a sequel to anything.
Lance, I'm glad you called. Thank you.
Tom, thank you. And if you have an extra one of those books around, I know you don't like giving away the gifts, but you're out of cups.
No, you got to go to the store and buy it. No.
I don't have any extra books.
No, we give him one. We got a long chain on it. We drag it back after the show.
Anyway, Lance, thanks for calling, my friend.
Thank you.
All right, bye-bye. Lastly, I don't have time for the cruise that you were on.
Oh, sure. Throw it out there and make me look like a bum.
No. He was on a cruise where it was a cruise with Harlan Ellison, right?
It was on the Love Boat. It was the Regal Princess.
Really?
We got called by a company, and they said, we're putting together a mystery cruise.
Was Kathy Lee on the cruise? No.
There's going to be a murder, and there's a whole bunch of people who will be in this package, and if you'll be the celebrity author, mm-hmm. We will give you a complete trip. So they fly us to Acapulco. Now, my wife and I have been married 8 years.
Right.
We've been together 9 years. And about a year and a half ago, she said to me, take me on a honeymoon or I will kill you. And I said, not a hell of a lot of choice there. So this thing came along. I said, how would you like a nice trip, up from Acapulco and Puerto Vallarta and Mazatlan and Cabo San Lucas. And she said, I'd love it. So we get on this boat, this big boat.
It's big.
Big, with a lot of people with blue hair and support hose. And see, I'm not a cruise type kind of guy.
I gathered that.
2 days, I was out of my mind. I wrote a story on ship. I'm sitting there writing a story, and we're walking to dinner one night, and there's all these, and I said to her, who are all these out there cockers? And she turns to me, she says, people your age, stupid.
Let's see. Judith Kranz, Barbara Streisand, and the computer networks, and now the cruise line.
They treated us like gods. We had a wonderful time. Susan loved it. So I pretend to like it.
Yeah.
Fortunately, she's not watching this show tonight, so I can tell the truth. I would sooner slash my wrist the long way than ever go on another cruise.
Well, when we get, what is it he wants? The does it?
The does it. I gotta have a
When
does
we get the does it in here, we'll send it over and you can play to your heart's content.
Thanks, boss.
Always a pleasure, kid.
Do you watch Animaniacs?
No.
Oh, you gotta watch Pinky and the Brain.
I'll watch it. Minefields, the art of Jacek Jurka. The fiction of you couldn't get a guy named Smith that paints.
It's a poll. What do you want from me?
And the fiction of Harlan Ellison, now available in hardcover and soft at bookstores everywhere.
Everywhere.
Always a pleasure. And what's the guy's name that got you the painting?
Jim Cowan.
He's not coming to dinner.